You're looking at a man that is boarding a shuttle right now as we speak to Saturn. You're looking at a man that's ADP. His ADP is going to be so reasonable given how many quarterbacks are confusing the top 4, top 5 overall. You're looking at a man that averaged 23 points per game, fantasy points per game, that would have extrapolated out to a QB3 overall type of score. You're looking at a man that has cracked the Saturn man list. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you AR5 Anthony Richardson. Let's go.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Look at him. Look at him. He is a spaceman.
Spaceman.
He is Anthony Richardson, and he is the focal point of today's show. The Fantasy Football Show begins now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
We do have some news to break, and we'll go over that news here in a second. We're going to talk about Anthony Richardson. Actually, let's go over the news real quickly first. Congratulations to Antonio Pierce, who is now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, something that Max Crosby said needed to happen or he would demand a trade. The players wanted it. This was going to happen, and the Raiders made the right decision because you would have divided this locker room up like crazy. So Antonio Pierce, congratulations on being the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. What like 18 months into his coaching career, and he's now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. That's unbelievable. Congrats, my guy. It's fantastic. And hopefully he gets himself an offense going. His defense, his team, the camaraderie between the boys, like he's got it all there. He just needs to make sure he's got the right quarterback signal caller. The Falcons are scheduling a second interview with Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh next week. So we know that the Bill Belichick stuff's going to slow down a little bit if they're going to be meeting next week with Harbaugh. And, you know, if we're being honest, we'd rather have Harbaugh than Bill Belichick. There are pros and cons to Bill Belichick. I think there's some things to be concerned about for Bill Belichick being in Atlanta, for Bijan, for the quarterback situation. If this man brings in a freaking Jimmy Garoppolo, then it's like we're gonna have our hands up in the air, and we'll be repeating the same why me, how did we not see this coming type of thing. So what really matters is who's quarterbacking, what kind of offensive coordinator, if Bill Belichick is in Atlanta. It doesn't mean that we're out. It just means we need to tread a little more carefully walking into that situation. We'll definitely take a look at it. Ramondre Stevenson under Bill has had amazing seasons. Bill has used running backs properly in his past. He just recently struggled with quarterback, and acknowledging that he needed to make a change and not being able to understand what a good quarterback looks like. And if he thinks Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm not saying he is, but there's a lot of people trying to speculate if Bill went to Atlanta, he'd bring in a veteran like Jimmy Garoppolo or something like that. If that happened, I would be in such panic mode for Bijan Robinson. But hang tight. Harbaugh might be here to the rescue, and even if Bill does end up being the Atlanta Falcon head coach, we'll have a lot to talk about, so hang tight. Yeah, the Zamir White train might be in full effect, so hang tight on that one. All right, that's really the news that I wanted to get to today. Now on to Spaceman Extraordinaire.
To Saturn.
To Saturn. You go, Spaceman. Do it live.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Look at him. Look at him.
Spaceman.
Look at him. Look at him. He's such an amazing prospect. And quite honestly, even if he falls to like QB, even if he doesn't fall past QB5, he's still got remarkable value to be an unbelievable scorer for you because he's QB3. You know, and we're talking redraft here, QB3 in points per game. Now, granted, this man did not play a whole lot, okay? We're kind of, you know, drawing a picture about a player off a very, very small sample of games. What is this? This is that. Oh, that's that report there. Again, congratulations, Mr. Pierce. Congratulations, my guy. Where's this? I had something here. I think it was right here. Yeah. Anthony Richardson game log. And if we take a look at this bad boy, this remarkable, performance, this absolute just unleashing of goodness. You look at a guy that if we use the 3 games that he really played, we can't use this week 5 contest because he didn't really play. But if we take a look at his 233, 56, 200 passing yards, you can probably draw a conclusion. I mean, if we're going to extrapolate data, we got to extrapolate fairly. And we got to say this guy's probably not thrown for, if you're using this data, over 200 yards a game. He's probably thrown somewhere along the lines of 175 to 220. Somewhere along those lines. He's not a 300-yard passer. Right now, he can become that for sure. But right now, that we got to be fair. 1 touchdown passing, 2 touchdowns passing, and in this game here, which we are counting here in week 2, no passing touchdowns. So this guy has 3 passing touchdowns in 3 games. And look at these rushing stats. 40, 35, 56, 1 touchdown on the ground, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 1 touchdown on the ground. This is a big reason why JT doesn't rank as high on my rankings as other people. This is a man that scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 touchdowns in 3 games. 7 touchdowns in 3 games is remarkable. That puts him on a 2.33 touchdown per game pace. And I know it's stupid math. Oh, let's extrapolate 3 games. But at the same time, you got to ask yourself, this is so early on in his career. Is it really unfair to him to extrapolate his first 3 games there? You know, like we're extrapolating games that he's probably going to progress from. So in a way, that data might not even be crazy to extrapolate. We might be underselling his ability to be a fantasy football monster. He's on pace for 40 total touchdowns on the year with this 2.33 TDs per game pace that he was on. QB3 overall. And he didn't even have time to get better. Shane Steichen knows what he's doing. Developed Hurts into the monster that Jalen Hurts is. Does anybody understand that that's why he went this direction? Steichen said, look what I did with Jalen. Look what I did with Jalen. Look where Jalen is now. Not saying Jalen can't rebound or change the direction of his team or where he's going, but Steichen was the reason. And now he's over here in Indy, and he's shaping and molding and crafting this man into his next project, into his next top 1 to 5 quarterback. He's an absolute monster. Absolute monster in the making. And I don't think there's anything wrong with extrapolating data like this. 3 games of data when he's going to get better. It's almost underselling his potential. So I'll say this. When you look at a draft and you say to yourself, let me write this on the board. You look at a mock and you say to yourself, okay, well, where are the quarterbacks going to go? Round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. This is 2024 redraft. Where are the quarterbacks going to go? Well, I venture to say that the depth at the position probably only has 1 quarterback going in round 2, probably toward the tail end. It's probably Josh Allen. Much depends on how the quarterbacks finish here in the playoffs. If you're watching this video weeks from now, we're walking into the division round games. We have not yet had these games play, so depending on what Josh Allen does here, Mahomes does here, I venture to say Mahomes could have a big game and it's not going to really vault him above Josh Allen. Josh Allen finishes the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. Jalen Hurts is obviously out of the playoffs at this point. You're watching this. The wild card round already ended up happening. You're literally looking at Lamar, Stroud, Mahomes, and Josh Allen and Jordan Love kind of changing their value proposition walking into the 2024 season. And you got to ask yourself, if Allen blows up and has monster good games, or at least one, even if he loses against Kansas City in this game right here, even if he loses but has 4 touchdowns, whatever, or plays 2 games, loses, has 2 big games, he's probably the quarterback that's going inside round number 2. Now you could probably say there's some debate to be had here. That's fine. I'm not going to debate the positioning of these guys. I'm merely telling you, I think right now my guesstimation is 1 QB is going probably in round 2, maybe 2, because there is the mentality. The thing I promoted for many, many years is early QB's not something to be ashamed of. There are 1,000 ways to win. 1,000 ways to win. And you can win going early QB. You can win going middle round QB. You can win going late QB. For this whole notion that you can't win if you draft an early quarterback because someone else has an advantage of taking a wide receiver or running back here, and then, they get to draft their quarterback late. It's such a late QB pool. That's lazy. I'm tired of hearing it because you're not listening to me. If you're in my comments later saying, Smitty, I'd rather wait on a quarterback, great, good for you. And so will I. In some leagues, I'll wait on a quarterback. In some leagues, I will wait on Joe Burrow because guess what? Joe Burrow is probably cracking the moon men. Joe Burrow is probably cracking the moon men because the moon men, out of all the lists, moon men are more likely to be moon men because their ADP is ridiculous. And Joe Burrow is going to be a moon man. Joe Burrow is going to win leagues from freaking around 5, 6, wherever he's going. So if you're in the comments later and you're not watching the entirety of this video, good for you. You're not going to draft a quarterback early. Say your piece. Regurgitate what other analysts keep saying every year after year, that early quarterback's not an advantage because it's such a deep QB pool. Good for you. Josh Allen may, in your mind, maybe he doesn't. So therefore, don't draft him. But Josh Allen has the ability to outscore all other quarterbacks by such a significant amount that it makes sense to say, okay, lazy Bob, you're going to take a quarterback in round 6. Good for you. I'll take a wide receiver here. You take your QB here. You take your wide receiver here. I'll take Josh Allen here. Apples to apples, Allen and my breakout wide receiver will be equivalent to your whatever wide receiver you get and the later quarterback that you like. There's 1,000 freaking ways to win. Okay, stop acting like you got the crystal ball. You know what the only way to win is? The best way? Best player available. BPA. Because if BPA says go Josh Allen, you're going to be okay in rounds 5, 6, 4, 3. You're going to be okay. You're hitting home runs. In round 1, best player available. In round 2, who's the best player available? Smash. Home run. Round 3, who's the best player available? Home run. Smash. I might have a void at my running back too because I went best player available, Bob. But guess what? If I land my running back 2 problem, if I solve that void and land the next Kyron, or if I have a void at my wide receiver 2 because I went best player available and I land the next Puka, you're done. The entire league is done. All of you are done. All of you are toast. My whole objective the entire year will be to solve the one problem that maybe best player available creates for me, the one void, the one hole in my ship. And if I plug that hole, you're all done. Because I'm absolutely blasting you at every other position because I took the best value on the board. BPA is the only way to draft. It opens the door to 0 RB. BPA is your master choice of strategy. The sub-strategy is 0 running back. The sub-strategy is going 0 wide receiver. The sub-strategy is hero RB. Those are all sub-strategies of best player available. You have to let best player available point you in the right direction and do its job. because everything else is a sub-strategy. If you jump straight to the sub-strategy when BPA says, no, what are you doing? Think of it like a map navigation. The map suggestion is saying this is the quickest route over to this side street. Once you get off the freeway, then you'll take this course. And you just say, I'm just going to take this particular path and take side streets only. BPA is trying to tell you, follow the roadmap to this specific strategy, and the strategy you may like might be at the end of that road. It might not be. But all I can tell you is back on point. I sidetrack like a mofo. If Allen's going around number 2, and Stroud and potentially Hurts and Mahomes are going in the 3-4 territory, where do you think AR5 is going to fall? Not right here, not coming off an injured season, not maybe losing Michael Pittman and all the concerns around that, not anywhere near this territory, because this is where Stroud lives, this is where Mahomes lives, this is where Jalen Hurts lives. By default, de facto, end of 4, top of 5, middle of 5, end of 5, AR5 is the one guy that can hang with every single one of the quarterbacks I just mentioned. Yeah, you don't have wax in your ear. You heard me correctly. AR5 could hang with every single one of those quarterbacks. He's proving it right here. And he comes with a whole bunch of risk baked right into the value. Absolutely hardcore baked into the value. There's nothing better than having a player that you feel could be as good as everybody, but the value, the risk is all baked in. All baked in. All baked in. Because if you're taking AR5 here or here, and he gets hurt and misses 3 games, that's all baked in. If you take Allen here and he misses 4 games, that's not baked in. I still love Allen here, but I'm telling you now, by default, this guy AR5 is going to be in a spot where he's a luxury. If he doesn't get hurt, you win your league. If he does get hurt, you still can win your league. If he misses 3 or 4 games, whatever, risk is baked in. Of course, if he's out for the season, that's a whole different topic, but you're factoring in a 1 or 2 or 3 game missed type of window here with this 5th round value, 4th round value. I'm not saying AR5 falls to 6, maybe not always 5. It just depends. But when you have Allen, Hurts was QB2. No one's going to doubt Hurts because the NFL Monday morning quarterback circles and content creators and ESPNs and other fan base pages out there, Niner fan base or Cowboys fan base says, oh, Hurts is done. He's figured out. Smart fantasy owners know that Hurts is still QB2 or at least QB3. Some people think Stroud's 2 or 3. That's fine too. Nothing wrong with that. But Stroud, Hurts, Allen, Mahomes, no one's stupid. No one's stupid at the end of the day when it comes to ranking a very obvious top 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterback room. AR5 might be quietly your 2 or 3, but you need to take advantage of the fact that AR5 is probably dropping to this 5 or late 4 at least round territory. We don't know where his ADP could be. It could be 4.1. I truly don't know yet. Anybody that pretends they have good ADP data, they don't. So I don't even really want to spit out bad ADP data. I'll just tell you that it's probably not 3. Because if everybody's mentality is the QB room, think about it. If everybody's mentality is the QB rooms are very deep this year, guys. The QB position is deep, and it really is. That's a good argument to make to say, hey, Joe Burrow around 6'7" is win a league material. It absolutely is. No.
And off he goes to the planet.
Wrong button. Wrong button. It really is. Let's give Joe Burrow his props that he deserves. Joe Burrow, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to send you to planet Uranus. Joe Burrow in round 6 and 7 is a win-a-league strategy. Absolutely. There are 1,000 ways to win. But you know what else wins? Lazy Lenny. Lenny out there watching. Lazy Lenny, keyboard warrior. Smitty, I don't agree with you. Quarterback late is the only way to go. It's such a deep position. That mentality, which isn't necessarily wrong, except for he thinks that's the only way to draft, so Lenny is misguided, but the premise of what Lenny's saying is true. It's a deep QB room. So you answer me this. At the end of the day, if the mentality of fantasy football players everywhere is that this is a deep QB pool this year, as it truly is. Why would anybody force 5 quarterbacks inside round 3? It's not going to happen. You're not going to have 5 quarterbacks going by round 3. Last year, we had people coming out of 2022 that said to me, Smitty, you are the only one that advocates for early quarterback. I advocate for late quarterback too. I was a big proponent of Jordan Love this year. I'm a big proponent of Joe Burrow in years past. I'm a big proponent of Jalen Hurts. We found Jalen Hurts on this channel. If you heard about Jalen Hurts, so there's McBride, by the way. Let's keep him up while we're here. If you heard about Jalen Hurts, you heard about it from us. If you drafted Jalen Hurts around 6 and 7 in a previous year when he exploded and broke out, you heard it from us. So we love late quarterback. We invented late quarterback. Okay, maybe we didn't invent it, but we've been here from the beginning. Okay, and no one else talks about late quarterback as much as I do. No one defends late quarterback or early quarterback as much as I do. Nobody defends both as much as I do because I defend them all. They're all ways to win. Middle round quarterback, late round quarterback, early round quarterback. I defend them all just very aggressively because best player available should guide you down all those avenues. It depends on everything that you got going on. But I'm going to tell you this right now, with the thinking of the QB room being full and all the content that's going to be regurgitated about it, there's no way I think 5 quarterbacks go by round 3. Not in this quarterback pool, which means that the higher likelihood of AR5 going in round 4 is on the table, and a slight chance he goes in round 5 is on the table, and Joe Burrow in round 6 or maybe later is on the table, and those are win a league strategies 2024. I love me Josh Allen in round 2. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm going to have several teams, at least 2, 20%. Let's say I do 10 leagues. I do a little more than that. 10 leagues, I'll have Josh Allen in 2 of them. 20% ratio of ownership, I will have Josh Allen in 2 out of 10 leagues in 2024. I will have Joe Burrow in 1 or 2 leagues minimum. I'll have AR5 in a minimum of 20% of my leagues in rounds 4 and beyond. This is a win-a-league player. This is a Saturn man. This is AR5 extraordinaire. Saturn man. He's on Saturn right now. He's making base camp. He's with his boys.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Look at him! Look at him! Look at him, look at him. Ghost says you're a believer in Watson next year. Watson who? Who's Watson, bro? You can't possibly be talking about Deshaun Watson. Ghost. You can't be. You can't be. We're in the middle of talking about elite quarterbacks. I hope you don't believe that Deshaun Watson's even in the conversation of an elite quarterback. You're more than welcome to dial in and discuss it, but I wouldn't draft Deshaun Watson, period, let alone consider him as my starting quarterback with the player pool as deep as the QBs we're looking at in 2024. It's a massive reach to talk about Deshaun Watson, who hasn't been able to do a single thing at the end of the day for the Cleveland Browns on probably the worst trade in the history of the NFL and the worst contract in the history of the NFL, and easily, arguably, the worst combination of trade then contract in the NFL. That's why he's on this list right here, on the Planet Uranus list.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
He's the king of Uranus. And it's 20... Ziggy, how many moons does Uranus have?
Uranus has 27 moons.
27 moons. He's on planet Uranus with 27 moons, and he still can't stay on the field. He still can't create and produce elite fantasy football numbers. I thought he's hype screen from day one. Wait, whoa. It's okay, Ghost. I'm not mad at you. I just don't understand what's going on here. Nah, just checking, Smitty. I saw, though, the hype screen from day one. The hype screen from day one. I don't know what you're talking about, day one. I've never been a fan of. He's been on that Planet Uranus list, for well over a year and a half. So I don't know what you're talking about. Appreciate you. Flacco's starting over Deshaun Watson next season. He should, but they won't. They can't. He's under a massive contract that there's no way. That's the problem. If you're a Browns fan right now, I feel bad. I love my Browns fans. If any Browns fans are watching, I don't want you to hate me because of my negativity toward the Browns. I'm almost hoping that you down deep, you understand, you down deep agree, you want to argue for me, you want to believe, but at the end of the day, I feel bad for you, and I'm here for you. I'm here for you to vent here. But I need you to understand that I feel bad that you guys are forced to start Deshaun Watson. You have to. I mean, you don't have to. You could make a bold and crazy move, but the dead cap hit is astronomical. There's no way this team is starting Joe Flacco. Deshaun Watson's contract is insane. And I'll drop it on screen right now and show it to you. But it's absolutely ludicrous. It's crazy. And it forces a team to make bad decisions because the contract is so garbage and awful. That's why it's thought of to be the worst contract in the NFL. The worst contract in NFL history. And it only makes and forces the team to go in a direction that they, I believe, know is not the direction they want to go in. This trade set this franchise back at least 5 to 10 years. Not only did the contract set the team back because they're committed to this man and they're going to go down this rabbit hole for another year, at least another year, but you also got rid of all your draft capital to get him, so it's a 10-year setback. The Browns have such a good team. And it's crazy to think about the setback that was put in place. Imagine if you didn't have all those picks traded away. This team's so good on so many levels. The Browns' defense is phenomenal. The receiving corps, the running game. This is a good team. And if somebody had balls at the decision-making level, they'd figure out a way to get another. I know everyone likes Joe Flacco, but he's not the answer long term. You get another quarterback in here. You figure it out. You somehow find a way to get a draft pick. If, let's say, Michael Penix Jr. falls to the top of round 2, you somehow, some way find a way. You use all the other picks you have. You trade up. You come get a guy like Michael Penix Jr. You at least safeguard yourself. Maybe you do roll with Deshaun Watson because you feel pressured to, but you have a guy that comes in, and if he takes his job, he takes his job. And then the Browns have a potential team. They're such a good team. They're such a good team. What if they brought in a Russell Wilson if Russell Wilson gets cut? There's a lot of avenues to go down, but here's the problem. Putting a quarterback in even of Russell Wilson's stature, look at the 2024 line that we have. Let me bring this here so we can highlight it. 24, this guy's dead cap hit is $200 million. You can't cut him, you can't move on. $200 million. The next year's $136 million. The next year is $72 million. You're stuck. You're absolutely stuck. You're stuck until 2027. It's the worst contract in the entire league. It's $230 million guaranteed. It's $230 million guaranteed. It's an absolute travesty. Absolute travesty. Guaranteed money, $230 million. Guaranteed total, $230 million. This salary adds up to $230 million. You can't even get out of it. This is next year, $136 million. So it's hard to imagine this team even putting somebody in a position to compete with them, because then you got this guy you're going to sit on the bench for $136 million. So my guess is they don't bring in the biggest competition because they're afraid of that. They're afraid of that. Denny, long time no talk, pal. What is going on?
Sweet. What's up, dude? You all pissed off about Belichick?
Am I pissed off? No, I'm a little bit worried about Belichick going to Atlanta and bringing in a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, because we saw Belichick screw up at quarterback all year long. And I'm just worried about that piece. And OC, who's the OC? What's it all look like? If Belichick brings in like a Russell Wilson, drafts a Penix Jr., or one of these rookie quarterbacks, or makes a trade for Justin Fields, then we're all good. If he brings in Jimmy Garoppolo or something garbage like that, then we got to worry. We got to worry a little bit. I don't know how much. It's not as bad as Arthur Smith, but it's still a worry. He misused. You're making a lot of sounds there, Denny. You're making a lot of sounds there. There's a lot of rustling going on while I'm talking.
Who's your favorite? Running back.
Who's my favorite running back? Probably Brees Hall.
Yeah.
He's 8 feet tall.
I thought it was the other dude.
Look, I love Gibbs. I love Achane. I love Brees Hall. I love Bijan Robinson. These are all players I absolutely love. It's like asking me to pick who's my favorite child. But at the end of the day, Brees Hall is the staple of the show. He's one of the very first reasons we did Moon Men, Mars Men, all of that. Him and Kenneth Walker were the absolute reason I did the Mars Men and Moon Men to begin with, because I said these guys are from outer space. That Kenneth Walker and Brees Hall. Denny, you got a lot of sound going on. What is going on in the background? You're rustling around. It sounds like you're in a windstorm. It's really distracting.
Stop yelling at me.
What's going on in the background there?
The house. It's no big deal. It's all good.
Maybe mute. Can you mute while I'm talking at least, or I'll have to hang up and have you call back each time because it's really, really loud, bro. The people.
Right. Oh, right. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. So.
You want me to mute?
You got a fake mute button. You've never muted. Whenever you say you're gonna mute, you never mute ever. Let's test it out. Denny, mute.
Mute. Mute.
BPA, this is the way. Thank you, Deckard. Appreciate you with the super chat. Spacula says second week. He only played one quarter, says Spacula. Appreciate you, pal. Spacula to the moon. And Jake right here, $5 hauler. That contract is the best thing to ever happen to the owners, which hated it. Nobody ever getting another one like that again. It definitely was like a problem spot for contracts and teams, but then as the teams and players moved around it and you had all these contracts kind of pile up on it, and then Burrow's contract, it really put to rest this idea that you're gonna get 230 fully guaranteed. But now that guaranteed money's creeping up to 230 anyway, but a contract might be 400, 500, 600,000 with a guarantee of 230 instead of being a fully guaranteed contract. So the guaranteed money will creep up to 230 like next year. Like you're getting quarterbacks getting that kind of money, but the whole idea of your whole contract being guaranteed, they finally pushed that down and back enough that it's not going to happen. But Deshaun Watson did throw a monkey wrench into that situation. That's correct. Denny, what else do you have, bro? What kind of point you got right now on this topic here? You called it about Belichick. What do you think about Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis? You like him?
Yeah. I like him. But how about Bijan?
What about him?
I know you all about Belichick ruining Bijan, right?
We're concerned. We're concerned.
I don't blame you. I was listening to you. You don't think I listen to you, but I don't.
Sometimes I wonder if you do, but yeah. Okay, you've been listening. Okay, lately you've been listening. What are you thinking here? Do you feel like Belichick will misuse Bijan? Is that what you're calling about? Are you here to strike panic through the viewers?
Yeah. He's gonna ruin Bijan if he goes to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's gonna go there.
Well, yeah, well, Harbaugh is going to interview next week, so we know it's not going to happen anytime soon. This report from ESPN, I believe it was, the Falcons are scheduling a second interview with Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh for next week. So Bill Belichick's not going to be signed anytime soon. That's next week. Harbaugh would probably, I would think, get the nod before Belichick. It's hard to know because Belichick comes with such a He's got the rings. He's the best coach in history, but this is the new coach that everybody wants in the NFL. They want this guy. He's the number one guy.
Wow.
So I think at the end of the day, you're taking the younger, the fresher mind, so to speak, coming into the league. Bill Belichick he's a guy that just he hasn't figured it out without Tom Brady, and I think it's pretty safe to say that he botched the quarterback position so badly last year, not even knowing that Malik Cunningham was the best quarterback on your roster. He had no clue.
Stop it.
No, I'm not going to stop it. You had Mac Jones, you had Zappy, you had nobody. Your best quarterback was Malik Cunningham, and he had no idea. So if Bill goes to Atlanta, I'm worried enough to where I'm not like just punching the button, Bijan every time he's on the. I'm taking a lot of other variants. I'm taking Bijan in some leagues. I'm willing to take the chance that they bring in the right OC. I'm willing to take the chances. Not Jimmy Garoppolo that they bring in. I'm hoping to God that it's not. If they bring in Russell Wilson, who could get cut, could get traded. His contract is awful, so I don't think anybody's trading for him. But the Broncos have already said they're moving on, so he's as good as gone. Like, you bring in Russell Wilson, I'm okay with that. Russell Wilson and Bill Belichick with Bijan, sign me up. Sign me up. But Jimmy Garoppolo, good God.
Smitty, will you just calm down for a second? For just a second.
Okay.
Belichick will ruin your boy.
You're trying to calm me down, and you tell me Bijan's getting ruined? What kind of person is going to try to calm somebody down by telling them one of their favorite players is going to be ruined, Denny? What kind of message is that?
Smitty, just you got to chill, man. I don't even know if Belichick's going to get a job, man. Tell you the truth, I wouldn't get a job, would you?
He's getting a job, but he hopefully he doesn't get this job. I don't want it. Nobody wants it. If it happens, it could be okay, but certain things need to be in place. All right.
Everyone on here.
Hey,
Smitty,
Denny, next topic. Let's move on from Bijan. We're talking about Anthony Richardson right now. Anthony Richardson, injury concerns clearly. I mean, no one's running away from that. But what I said earlier to everybody was that when you're talking about this guy going, let's say in round 5, which I can imagine him maybe going in 4, but he's probably going in 5. That injury risk is all baked into the situation. It's all baked in.
Can I ask you a question, Smitty? Can I ask you a question? Did you like what you saw with him? Because I did. Oh, dude, how good did he look? Dude, I'm not even playing. How good did AR get in? Dude, I liked what I saw with Anthony, and I was like, don't get him, but man, he zip it, man. Anthony Richardson.
He can zip it, bro.
I do. Take a lap. I do anything to get him on my team.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Danny, hang tight real quick. Carl, you're live. What can I do for you, Carl?
Hi, Carl.
Hey there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What can we do for you?
Unfortunately,
I have a dynasty question for you.
All right, hit me with it.
So, which side would you rather have? Tua Tagovailoa in the 102 in 2024, or Jalen Hurts?
Is it a 1 QB?
It's super flex.
And Tua in the 1.2?
Correct.
Or Hurts. I'm going to take Hurts. The 1.2 is very solid. I mean, it's very, very, very solid. But the problem is, like, let's say Marvin Harrison Jr. goes, and he may not. Like, I don't know if you have a lead on that, and but like at the end of the day, though, Marvin Harrison Jr. In Tua is not better than Jalen Hurts in a super flex. If this is a super flex, if this were a 1 QB league, I would very, very much be tempted. Very, very, very much be tempted. If it was a dynasty startup.
Smitty, can I ask you a quick question?
Hey, one second. Hold on 1 second, Denny. Guys, call back in one second. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Sorry, had to take that call real quickly. Call back in, Denny and Carl. I apologize for the delay on that, but call back in again, Denny and Carl. As if it was a 1 QB dynasty league, I'd be tempted because of how valuable Marvin Harrison Jr. is, and in a 1 QB, you could argue Marvin Harrison Jr. in a dynasty startup 1 QB could potentially go. He could potentially go ahead of Jalen Hurts, maybe. But in a 1 QB, I'd still say I'd rather have Hurts, bro. And in a super flex, 100% rather have Hurts than a 1.2 rookie pick and Tua Tagovailoa. Because you don't even know if Tua is going to be the starter 2 years from now. Hurts is a top 3 QB for the next 8 to 10 years. I don't care what anybody says about Hurts right now. Those people are giving lazy takes. He's an absolute monster. Denny, sorry about that. I had to answer that call. No offense, but I couldn't let you run the show without me. Don't take offense to it, bud.
Well, it hurt. It hurt.
It hurts.
Can I say something about Hurts?
Yeah, tell me about Hurts, bro. Enlighten me.
I think he's hurt. I find Hurts excellent. And there's something about whatever it is with his finger. I find Hurts excellent, and I kind of feel bad about it, but man, there's something wrong. He was hurt, man. Hurts was hurt. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, Denny. For shockingly, it does make sense. Yeah, look, I could care less what people think about him in the you could call it real world outside of fantasy football, because I went on RSF 49ers, my boy Raj, on Instagram. I went on a quad box show. We do it like every Thursday or Friday. We're back doing it on Instagram. We have about 500 people in the live stream. It's lit, and it's like not 80%, 90% Niner fans, 10 to 20% haters of the Niners because they're in there to try and cause havoc. So it's not full Niner fans, and a big percentage of my people are in there as well, mixed in, so those numbers aren't entirely accurate. But I go in there, and I'm always the odd man out. And this is a complete group of Niner fans, and they sometimes they can't stand my take. And I literally said, "You guys have goggles this thick on. You think Brock Purdy's the best quarterback in the NFL?" And I just said, not talking about this team right now. No one's taking Brock Purdy off the roster right now. He's the best fit. He knows the system. You guys are jiving. Everything's perfect. But if you're starting a new team, there's nothing to do with the Niners, okay? I did kind of paint this picture to the fan base there and to the three guys that I'm doing this live stream with. I said, if you're starting to do... Hold on, Danny, I'm talking! If you're starting a new team right now, a new NFL team, okay? Denny, you're starting a new NFL team. Are you drafting Purdy over Jalen Hurts or Hurts over Purdy to be your quarterback? You don't have any players yet. You're drafting quarterbacks only. And this crowd is like, oh my God, Brock Purdy. He should totally draft Brock Purdy over Jalen Hurts. And I'm just sitting there going, you guys have goggles on this thick. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. You're not passing on one of these quarterbacks over Brock Purdy if you're starting an NFL franchise. They're absolutely blind, and I love that they're blind because they're passionate about their team. They love their team, but it's hilarious. I'm in there by myself. My people are in there in the chat, but there's like 300 or 400 angry people going, "Oh, Brock Purdy, he's the best quarterback in the NFL," and it's just like it's crazy. It's crazy. So I always say that the real world is full of a lot of fandom, a lot of weird thinking, And a lot of people say to me in those live streams, oh, this guy only knows fantasy. Let me tell you something. You got to know ball before you know fantasy. So if anybody's going to have a handle on both, it's going to be a fantasy analyst. Not everyone. There's a lot of fantasy analysts out there who pretend to be analysts. But don't say I don't know ball and that I'm coming from a fantasy-only perspective. To do what I do every single day, you have to know both. And if anything, I'd be the right person to come to because I won't have a cloudy mind about a specific team like a fan base does when they go, oh yeah, Brock Purdy's the best quarterback in the NFL. If you think Brock Purdy's better than Hurts, Josh Allen, Stroud, Burrow, and probably AR5, and maybe a couple others, but I'll leave it there just to be gentle. You don't know what you're talking about. You're totally got these thick goggles on, and it's okay. I appreciate you, and I envy it. I envy the ability to love your team so much that you're blind. I envy it. I do envy it. I appreciate it too. But it is funny. It is funny to have these conversations with fan bases that have no clue. Purdy what?
So bad.
Purdy what?
He's gonna win. He's gonna win a Super Bowl.
But even if he does, that's not what we're talking about.
It's gonna be between Purdy and.
Answer the question, Denny. Who is your quarterback you're drafting if you're starting a brand new NFL team and you have no players? Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts?
Purdy.
Oh God, I hate to do this to you.
Finish him.
No, don't do it to me. No.
Call terminated.
No, don't get.
Okay, so the topic at hand is Purdy right now. Rock out. You're live. Purdy over Hurts. Come on, bro. Rock out. What can I do for you?
All right, do it live. Are you taking AR-15 or Stroud?
Am I taking AR-15 or Stroud? Probably Stroud. If I'm starting an NFL team, I'm probably drafting Stroud over AR-5 because of the injury risk. If I'm talking fantasy football, it's definitely debatable, like to the point where I would take Stroud like in the middle of round 4 one draft and take AR-5 in round 5 in another and be completely happy with the diversification of it. So I don't think there's a way to really answer that in redraft. I think you want both. You want a combination of both. You want a hand in both of those. But yeah, in terms of starting an NFL team, I'm taking Stroud. If I'm an owner and I've got no players and I'm on the clock and Josh Allen's off the board and Mahomes is off the board, and even if you're starting an NFL team, Stroud Hurts, you could definitely have that conversation. So that's a debatable one. I think Stroud's that good. Stroud's really, really a baller. To do what he did as a rookie is phenomenal. And not to take away what Purdy's doing. You know, not to take away that Purdy's a good quarterback, that Purdy's a top 10, top 8 to 12 potential quarterback of the future with a lot to prove still. Because if you take away Debo, you take away Ayuk, you take away Christian McCaffrey, you take away even one of those pieces, they're not going to have that window of time with all these players for very long. It will be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Look what happened when Debo was out.
Yeah. Go ahead, rock out. What else you got? And then I'm gonna go back to Denny. Sorry, Denny, I couldn't allow that. That was just too much.
No problem.
Denny's resilient.
What could happen with Russell Wilson?
I'm hoping Atlanta, to be honest, like if they don't get Fields, they don't draft have their heart set on drafting a QB. Penix Jr. or Russell Wilson or Fields, those would all be good options for Atlanta. We don't know if the Atlanta Falcons would trade for him, depending on, the details of that, like how much money would the Broncos eat to make something like that happen. The Broncos have decided to move on. So, it's not like it's kind of an obvious move. Everybody knows and is willing to wait for him to cut him. It's a big contract, but they're moving on, and Sean Payton doesn't want to go down this road. That's not his quarterback.
You could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, Blackbeard saying he's blaming the quad box if the Niners lose, because they were so confident in acting like it was a lock that they were going to beat the Green Bay Packers. So Blackbeard's hoping they don't jinx them. Perps with a $20 hauler. Hold on 1 second. Perps with a $20 hauler. Absolute monster. He says Denny's a warrior. Cry to Smitty after he cry to Smitty after finish him. Purdy comment made my night. Let me tell you something about. Thank you, Perps. By the way, Perps is an absolute monster. $20 hauler. $20 hauler monster. This Perps. He's an amazing creature. He really is. But let me tell you something about Denny. He's also an amazing creature. This guy's resilient. I just hung up on him. I just kicked him off my show. He calls back like nothing ever happened. He brushes it off like a soldier. He comes right back in here. Denny's resilient as they come. He's like a cockroach. He'll survive anything. He'll survive. This guy Denny will survive anything.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You want to get a apartment together?
Not today, Denny. I don't think Miss Smitty would be okay with that.
Karate?
We can do a little karate though in the garage. Push the bunk beds together. Thank you, Perps. Perps to Saturn. Perps to Saturn, by the way. Absolute monster.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So AR5. Are you guys comfortable with QB5? Are you guys worried about that kind of ranking? And Denny, are you serious? You rank Purdy fantasy wise over Richardson for 2024? And fantasy wise,
Yeah.
Fantasy wise, I can't get mad at you over it. I disagree with it, but he's got the talent around him to produce at that level. So but when we're talking about the fundamentals of building a team for the very first time without all the structure, without the Kyle Shanahan system and scheme, without Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and CMC, best in an offensive line. If you're building a team from scratch, I think that's a very different conversation, which is what I was alluding to earlier. In fantasy, if you think Purdy's going to be 5 or 6 because of those weapons for one more year, I'm okay with it. But from a dynasty perspective, I would be a little bit worried about that. I'd check it a little bit on that one, because this window of having this talent there is maybe one more year. I would say once CMC's gone and not the same player, even if he's there, and Kittle's going to drop off. Kittle is at an age where he's got one more elite year left before he starts breaking down as well. He's so tough on his body. He's much like Rob Gronkowski. So, like, you take those two pieces off the chessboard, bro, this is not the same team. I'm not saying they're not a top 10 team or top 15 team. I'm just saying they're
Debo?
Yeah, Debo too. Debo runs a lot. He takes a lot of abuse. Takes a lot of leg shots. I mean, think about Debo. Debo's one of the most, like, probably knee injuries are probably the worst thing, that could target Debo, because you can't take him down. The only way to take Debo down is a lower shot to the body. Like he's like a sitting duck sometimes, because you can't tackle him. Debo catches the ball. He's either in the end zone or he gets ushered out of bounds by 4 or 5 guys. Debo is the most difficult player to tackle. Yeah, we all love Debo. Debo is a moon man. Debo is a moon man.
The ball, and then Yak.
Yeah, Yak monster. But like Debo, Kittle, CMC, these are all players that 4 years from now I don't think are gonna. Maybe they got a 2-year window. Maybe they got a year window with a little opening to a second year. Maybe 2 years. Maybe 2 years. This year they finish it out. I think they've definitely got, I think, as good a chance as Baltimore or Buffalo, maybe even a better chance of winning the 2023-2024 NFL Super Bowl. If the Niners win it, I am surprised 0%. They're probably the best team in this entire bracket. Probably by far in a way when you think about it. Most well-rounded team. And then they have a 2-year window of being, I think, on the same page with about 3 or 4 teams. And then I think it's what does Brock Purdy look like at that point? It's good. Okay, so
pretty good. The 49ers are gonna win the Super Bowl, bro. What is Ron Navy's problem, man? Is Ron Navy up in there?
What do you mean? What's his problem?
I was listening the other day, and it's like yelling at you. I don't like.
He has been a little bit. He has been a little bit like, I'm going to argue the anti-point almost every time lately. I said that to him on the Dynasty live stream. He called in and I go, AR5. We did it on the Dynasty channel last night, and then his first thing was, Smitty, he's a fade. And I just said, Ron, what's going on? He goes, I'm just kidding. And I'm like, okay, but like he has been a little anti-point.
Yeah, he's been anti-Smitty, man.
A little anti-Smitty lately. He has felt a little bit like that. I think I said that to him on the Dynasty live stream. I'm like, what is going on here, bro?
Ooh, seriously.
Yeah, Blackbeard is a diehard Niners fan that knows what time it is. He knows his team's the best team in the NFL right now. He knows that. And we know that. We all can admit that.
Yeah,
but he knows that there's some other teams.
Some of the things he's saying, but I don't like when he yells at my boy Smitty.
Talking about Ron Navy.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Denny.
No, you know who I am, man.
Denny's a fierce protector. Denny, would you, if I ever get to the point where this show is so big that I need to like if I ever get McAfee big, and I'm walking around Vegas and I need a couple temporary bodyguards, are you down?
All day.
Well, are you going to vanish though to get a big tall, Long Island iced tea and not come back though?
Are you still mad at me because I left?
I'm just saying, the first time we meet, you for about 15 minutes we're hanging out. You say I'll be right back. You never come back. I don't see you until the next day. You come down for about 10 to 15. You come down for about 10 to 15 minutes the next day. You go, I'll be right back. You never returned. You vanished twice on me. I spent about 15, 20 minutes with you total in Vegas, and you flew down to see me. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to be a bodyguard of mine, I need to make sure that when I start talking, crap about Purdy, and I look over and I look for my bodyguard to block a left hook that's coming for me from some crazy Niner fan, you're going to be there to block it.
Yeah, I should have been there. Yeah, you're right. I was the first one up. Yeah, I should. Yeah, if that happens again, I'm gonna lower my shoulder, and I'm just gonna lower my shoulder. Whoever messes with my boy Smiggy.
Okay.
And it's gonna be a bad day.
All right.
For them.
Denny, appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you.
Real quickly before I let you off the phone line, because I got to move on. Give me.
Ron Navy got a problem with me?
I don't think so. Hey, Denny, real quickly, let me give you a question here. Houston or Baltimore, who's winning? We're gonna do Denny's bracket right here. Welcome to the Denny Bracket Show.
I gotta go Houston, bro.
Houston,
I like
okay.
That kid. I like what he's doing.
What's his name? What's his name?
I'm going Houston.
What kid?
Right,
What's his name, Denny? Denny, what's his name? What's his name, Denny? What kid?
Stroud.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Denny knows it.
baby.
Okay, Stroud and Houston win this game. KC Buffalo, who wins?
Buffalo. Ooh.
Okay, this is Denny's bracket. Okay, Buffalo wins. Buffalo. Yep. Okay, who?
I'm telling you.
Okay, San Francisco, Green Bay.
No one knows that.
San Francisco.
What?
San Francisco, Green Bay. You're going to go San Francisco, obviously, because you said they're winning the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. San Francisco's going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, don't ruin your bracket. You're in the middle of a bracket show. You just gave away the ending. Tampa Bay, Detroit. Who's winning that game?
Oh boy, that's the toughest thing I've ever heard.
Sounds like
I'm not
Scooby.
kidding. Oh my God. Joe Gamble?
Perps with the 20 gifted memberships.
To the moon.
Perps with the 20 gifted memberships. Denny, who's winning the game? Hurry, Denny. Tampa Bay, Detroit.
Tampa.
Okay. Tampa.
Let's go. Let's
All right.
go. What's that dude's name?
All right, you got San Francisco beating Tampa, and then who do you got winning Buffalo, Houston?
Buffalo Soldier.
Aside from Baltimore, Denny, we have the same bracket. Except for I have Detroit. Sorry, I have Detroit and I have Baltimore, but we have the same Super Bowl.
So we have the same
Super Bowl.
We have the same bracket.
We have the same Super Bowl.
Do you want to do bump heads?
Maybe later, Denny. All right, hey Denny, I gotta go. Appreciate you, Denny to the moon. Denny to the moon.
Hey.
We'll see you later.
I remember all you guys when we used to be on the.
So hard to say bye to him.
Yeah. Graveyard shift. Remember when I used to be on the graveyard shift?
You know, I don't know what's harder, getting off the phone with you or my mom.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Later on.
He's Denny.
No.
He's Denny. All right. Hey, Scared Scott, turn down the show in the background if you could. Scared Scott, what could I do for you? You're live.
All right. This bracket thing. I'm from Louisville, and I'm going to have the greatest Super Bowl ever because I'm a 49ers fan, and the 49ers are going up against the Louisville God, Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I don't think there's any more surprises. I think it's going to be chalk. It's going to be right through. Niners against the
Ravens, but the Ravens bested them last time, bro. Who's winning the Super Bowl? You said.
I think it's going to be San Francisco.
I'll tell you what. If I was a Niner fan, and I don't know if Blackbeard can vouch for this, and it's okay if you have a different opinion on it, but I wouldn't. First of all, I'm one of those people who wants to play the toughest team. I want to win that way. That's the way I like to win. But if a Niner fan is not wanting to, they want to get that Super Bowl so bad, and they're just trying to like let's say you have money on the line and you didn't want it to be a close game. You wanted the easiest path to get your money. The last thing in the world I want is the Baltimore Ravens, who bested the Niners, and you have that vibe, that concern. Whereas everybody else, you're just like, we're going to terrorize you. You're talking smack. Bring it. You know, we're the underdogs. We love being the underdogs. But for some reason, Baltimore, they almost feel like the underdogs. They've taken that underdog-like feel and that aggressive, like, you know, everybody keeps doubting us, and we're, you know, they don't want that. They want to go up against a crap-talking, you know, Chief fan base or a crap-talking Buffalo Bill fan base, or they don't want to go up against a team that's saying we're the underdogs. And no, we're the underdogs. No, we're the underdogs. I don't know. And the fact that they bested them and the defense is the best defense here on this side of the bracket, it's like, I don't know if that's the team you want to face, but tough to say.
It's like to me, Baltimore and San Francisco are a notch above everybody else. They both have incredible offenses and they both have incredible defenses, and nobody else has that.
Maybe, but I think Buffalo's got a good defense. They also have, you know, an offense that's really coming around, and Josh Allen's been on a mission. I think they've got a potential to, you know.
The thing I see with Buffalo and Josh Allen is that Allen has a tendency to turn that ball over.
That's what everybody says. That's what everybody says about it. Like, I understand that's a concern, but like, I mean.
But the Baltimore defense will eat that up.
Maybe. I know everybody wants to just use, like, everybody knows Josh Allen throws interceptions. Like, it's not new news. You know, he throws INTs, but he also has commanded this team back in a marvelous fashion. He's been playing his best football. He was QB1 in fantasy. Not that fantasy has to do necessarily with this bracket. That's where you got to separate real football from fake football. But like statistically, he's atop all these categories. He's got the 40-plus total touchdowns. This guy's absolutely a point-scoring machine. And so, yeah, mistake prone, but guess what? He's scoring more points and creating more opportunities than any other quarterback. You know, that's what he does. That's why he's capable of throwing INTs and still not being as big of a concern as it would if, he's a turnover machine and wasn't scoring 40 total touchdowns on the year.
For him, to me, Allen, and he reminds me a lot of somewhat Manning would do the same thing. But, Peyton's two Super Bowls, it was Rex Grossman, and he wasn't Peyton Manning when he won a second Super Bowl. That was a defensive team. And I just feel like that Josh Allen, to get that Super Bowl, is going to have a scenario kind of like this, but a Houston somehow pulling the upset on Baltimore and Detroit or Tampa getting to the Super Bowl for some reason, and that's just how I envision him getting a Super Bowl. I just think that when he goes up against a very tough defense in a playoff scenario with a good offense, I don't think that sets well for Buffalo with that tendency, but. I do. I just think Baltimore and San Francisco are two complete football teams, whereas the other ones have holes. And
all right, hey, I got you. Okay, let's go over. Appreciate you, Scott. Let's go over to Travis real quick. So I had to cut Scott. No offense, I had to cut Scott off because I started to realize how long he was talking.
Real quick on the
I love you, Scott.
Allen can be prone to mistakes, but I think he had more than one interception 3 times this year. 2 of the games he wasn't good. The last game was against Miami, and he threw for 359 with 2 touchdowns and rushed for 60 more. So that's the trade-off, though, is that if he's chucking like that, unless they just shut him down and have a great game, which the 49ers could do, if they make it, they still got to get there. But he can throw for 350 on you too, or 400, no problem. So I think people weirdly underrate him at this point, which is kind of odd to me. But I was just calling in to ask you if Belichick ends up going to the Falcons. I don't know if I didn't miss any news on that or anything, right?
Nothing can happen anytime soon because Jim Harbaugh is going to interview with the second interview next week. So there's nothing that's going to happen. We just talked about there have been rumblings about Jimmy Garoppolo, but those are all people just guessing about stuff. There's no quarterback in line to go there. But if, let's say, worst case scenario happened, Bill Belichick was in Atlanta and he brought in Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback, we'd be in near full panic mode. And then for anybody that wants to know what we would do, we would just have to assess his new ADP, because the rest of the world's going to freak out. If we're freaking out and we're a very optimistic, Bijan Robinson community here, then the rest of the world's going to freak out. So we just have to, like when Charbonnet was drafted to Seattle, we had to reassess what was a top 15 overall pick ADP prior to the NFL draft turned into a round 5, 6, whatever ADP for Walker. So we had to reassess. Do we now like Walker better with Charbonnet in the picture at round 5 or 6 or whatever? Or do we like the old Walker value? So it would be a new Bijan Robinson ADP in value, and we'd have to relook at it. But nobody wants Belichick at the end of the day. If he ends up going there are a lot of ways it could still work out. He still had much success with a running back. Stevenson was great for not just 1 year. It's just been that they have no quarterback. It feels like he has no ability to grasp the quarterback position and how to get the talent in there. And if his mindset is that Jimmy Garoppolo is the answer, he's proving that he has no clue how to grab and mold and sculpt the QB room on a team anymore. He's proving he's incompetent at core. If he thinks Jimmy Garoppolo, or if any coach thinks Jimmy Garoppolo is their answer, that's incompetency.
I don't think he does, honestly.
Yeah, it's just people are saying it. I'm just trying to address it because it's a rumor out there. But if he brings in Russell Wilson, if they draft a QB, then that's a whole different ball game. I think Bill Belichick with Russell Wilson or Bill Belichick with Michael Penix Jr. in the NFL draft. If Bill Belichick gets, Bill Belichick gets a quarterback like Drake May, if they move up a little bit, or if Drake May somehow fell, or if it was Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix fell to pick 8, or Russell Wilson, or they traded for Fields, all those are good options with Bill Belichick. I'm fine. If Bill Belichick has no quarterback, takes Ritter into the future and has Jimmy Garoppolo, or brings in some scrub to compete with Ritter, then he has no clue what he's doing at the quarterback position, and I'm in full panic mode to a degree. It just depends on the ADP. There's really no other way to really look at it right now. I know a lot of people want to have concrete answers, but we don't. We just got to wait.
I called in late last night, so I didn't really talk much about it, but I called in and just mentioned I've seen things about him signing Baker, and I know Baker, I guess maybe it depends.
We can barely hear you, Travis. I don't know if you've got if you're on speaker or what it is, but you're kind of distant. Yeah, Baker. We talked about that. Not really. Baker's definitely got a ton of upside. I think in that situation in Atlanta, he's got, I don't think, a ton of fantasy football value standalone, by himself. But does he provide a solid, situation for Pitts, for London, for the team, for getting into the red zone? Obviously, and as you alluded to on that show, he's Rashad White and Evans were fantastic under Baker's command. So I'm okay with that one. Ron kicked around Kirk Cousins. Could Kirk Cousins go to Atlanta? That's a opportunity that there's a potential for something like that. I think Kirk Cousins, because he said money's not a problem or an issue or the sticking point, it really is, though. People say that. Then maybe staying in Minnesota is where he wants to be anyway. And JJ's pushing for it. I think at the end of the day, Cousins is more likely to go back to Minnesota anyway, but that's an option. Baker, Russell Wilson, those are all good ones. Those ones are fine. Kirk Cousins would be fantastic. Russell Wilson would be good. Maybe it's not fantastic, but it's good. It's pretty damn good.
Right.
Baker's good. Not great, but it's good. It's sufficient. Bijan to the moon.
Yeah, the last thing I'd say, I'll jump and listen to the rest of the show off the phone, but it seems like he might have a plan of what he wants to do with Baker, because way back when he was drafted, before he flew up to the number 1 spot, they were talking about possibly even trading up to get him, and that's a rarity to even talk about, like a rumor to come out that Belichick would consider trading up at all. And then this past offseason, now it sounds like he wanted to trade Mack and bring in Baker to the team to start something with him. So it's like he obviously has in his mind what he would want to do with him. So I don't know if he'd be better than a Russell Wilson, or obviously not better than a Fields or a Cousins, but I think he could work. Like I said, Baker wouldn't be a guy we're chasing in fantasy, but he could be enough for those pieces to work.
Absolutely. He's definitely proven he's way more competent than Ritter. Like Ritter will be more competent, though. I don't want him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Bill will be better. Like if we get Bill and everything else is the same, we're still getting a better Bijan. He's probably running back 5. But
right.
But we don't want Ritter. We don't want Jimmy. We don't want any of that BS. We want a good quarterback. It doesn't have to be great, just a good quarterback. Jimmy's not it. Ritter's not it. Penix Jr. would be amazing. Bo Nix would be fantastic. Drake May would be great. Russell Wilson, Baker, Cousins, all those are fantastic options. All right. Anything else, Travis?
I'll jump off. I'll listen to the rest of the show.
All right, later, bro. Appreciate you. Thanks, bye. Mars Man, rock out. Anything else before I let you jump?
No, you're good. Appreciate it.
All right, bro. Appreciate you. This one right here is from Jaime. Jaime says, Denny, Ron, Navy, Perps, Draven, Mount Rushmore. Appreciate you, Jaime, dropping the super chat. Ethan, the negative, you're the final caller of the day. What can I do for you real quickly, bro?
Smitty, I liked you talked about the kiss of death for receivers, and I like Puka Nakua for the Saturn list. But what about Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, JJ, and Garrett Wilson? Get these people to Maz. Give these people air.
Get them down. Go to the chopper. Yeah, I mean, you give me time, man. The season just began. It's January 19, and I've got 8 Saturn men, 1 Moon man, and 2 Mars men up. I mean, what more do you want from me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna run out of time. It's January 19. I've got half of the boards full. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm hoping the Packers they better do the tackling they did with Dallas. They did a good job with.
Yep.
They better do it with Debo. I don't want to see missed tackles. I'm gonna lose my mind otherwise. So.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All
Call him tonight on the
Yeah,
Dynasty
thanks,
channel. Later. Guys, just so you know, the Dynasty channel is doing it live every single night, usually graveyard shift. First of all, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Maybe we'll come back, potentially maybe come back and draft later tonight as well. That link has been dropped in the live chat. Underdog Fantasy, they'll double your first deposit up to $100. Just hit that link, get ready and prepared. Download Underdog, use code Smitty if you download it without going through the link. The link will insert code Smitty for you if you want to be lazy about it. It'll take care of you. Links in the description of the video as well, as it is every video, but those links, again, insert code Smitty. That doubles your first deposit. It's a $10 minimum, I believe, so you put in 10, they'll give you 10, you'll have $20. The drafts that we do usually are $5 mitten drafts for the playoffs. They're $5. You want a little skin in the game. You want to play a little fantasy football right now. Your season's over. Maybe you crushed it. Maybe you didn't. Either way, you want to play fantasy football right now. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Link is in the live chat. I'll drop it one more time, and we'll potentially be in there drafting tonight, but definitely will tomorrow. We'll be live on the Dynasty channel tonight. If anybody doesn't know, I have a separate channel. You want to make sure you're subscribed to that so you know when we go live. The Dynasty channel is right here. That Dynasty channel is youtube.com. I just dropped it in the live chat. youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. You're currently watching youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Both the links are at the bottom of my YouTube page. If you just scroll down to the bottom of the YouTube main page, you'll see all my channels right there. If you ever need to find it, we'll be on the Dynasty channel tonight. Appreciate you all. Thank you to my super chatters. I've got a few more super chats I think that came flowing in. Thank you for those. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jaime. Thank you to Perps. Thank you to Spacula. Thank you to Decker. Thank you to Jake. Appreciate you all. I'll see you all later. That's it. Deuces. Tonight on the Dynasty channel, link has been dropped. I'll drop the link one more time on the Dynasty channel. I'll pin the link right now for the Dynasty channel. Go check out the videos. We do a video every night, so there's a lot of videos up for you to watch right now. Right here, right now. Thank you, Perps, for the gifted memberships. See you all later.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.